prior to this, by the way, so everyone knows that I'm not being too mean to Bella. She was like, I really like when people challenge my views, and it makes for interesting viewing and stuff. So just lay into me as hard as possible. So this isn't me being actively abusive. This is So the problem is that you have a definition in your head of what TERF and gender critical means. And basically, you have made this distinction that TERFs are the bad guys and gender critical are, reasonable human beings and stuff. But here's part of the problem. Well, you know what? I'll get to the second part later. We have a lot of time to cover this. But, basically, I don't know if I mentioned this on stream last time. Probably did, and I'm repeating myself, and I'm an idiot. But in private to you, I also mentioned this concept of Humpty Dumpty logic of saying, for instance, that oh, what a cute cat that is, and the person's like, that's a chair. Like, it's like, well, the word cat means whatever I say that it means. It's like, well, that's not how words work. You just because you think that these things, what TERF and what gender critical mean, and I'm going to put this in the rudest way possible. What it means is usually some British person, usually a woman, usually a butch dyke who hates men and hates trans people, and is of the basically, honestly, is of the opinion that real trans people as like a medical or psychological thing or stuff like that don't actually exist. That really, most of them are either one of those two categories we've discussed. Either they're like super gay, one of these very effeminate gay men who have decided that this is a good way to, trick and trap straight men by, becoming female. Or they're, what was the other category? Oh, yeah, someone who like gets an erotic thrill out of doing this. That's what actually, and even if you disagree with those definitions, that it doesn't really matter. If other people are using that word that way, that's what it means. And so, like, when you say that you're gender critical, that's what they're hearing, is that you're some self-hating tranny who, is against other trannies, like, some of these shitty YouTubers who you watch constantly,
Wait, hold on. Which shitty YouTubers? Like
was that lady who you linked me to?
Blair. I don't. Okay, I do watch Blair White, but I don't like watch. I hate watch Blair White. I don't like. I don't like Blair White. Oh goodness.
I don't know how much I believe that. You have a unhealthy love of watching and interacting in terrible communities. You find it very fascinating. Is that fair to say?
Yes, but I think that the radical feminists that I have interacted with and befriended are just not as bad as you think they are.
No, and that's fine. It's just if that's true, then they're not actually gender critical.
No, that's not true.
TERF.
Gender critical means something. Gender critical.
No. What it means is TERF. It was a rebranding of the phrase TERF.
God, look,
Am I wrong in that?
I would say the other way around. Like TERF was the reaction to gender critical ideas, is what I would say. Yeah. So a TERF is almost the thought terminating cliche, and that's a phrase that I want to explore a bit here because I think it's relevant. It's relevant. I think that it's relevant. TERF is basically the label that's used to shut down discussion of gender critical ideas because people go, "Oh, you're a TERF, you're bad, etc."
Let me guess. You think that TERF is a slur? I'm so surprised.
I don't think TERF is a slur. I just think that it's I just don't think it's convincing as a thing. Okay, I'm actually going to try to do the prison area instead.
Good idea. We love the prison area.
Yeah, the prison area is actually very, very cool.
Yes. The second thing that causes some problems with me is that I don't know or interact with TERFs, and it's not just because they're assholes. It's also because I'm in America. It appears to be a British phenomenon mainly, and I'm sure that there are some in the United States, but they are less vocal. They don't get as much attention, and they are and ones who pipe up are are shut down as they should be when they say shit like uh, trans women are men or something like that.
When
So
they say trans women are natal males, yeah.
yeah, well, that's not what they say. That is not at all what they say. That's what I have ordered you to say so that I don't get infuriated at you
You,
behind the scenes.
I mean,
But
you can get infuriated on stream. It would be content,
yeah,
wouldn't
I
it?
am, Bella. Don't worry about that. Um,
Okay, he's coming.
but
Like, yeah, guys, this is going to be the stream where Appius like yells at me for being
where
a
Appius
big
loses it
for
and has a fucking vein explode in my head like the Emperor Valerian. No, not Valerian. Ah, I fucked that up. Valerian was captain. Ah, I fucked it up. All right. Anyway, I think it was Vespasian. Anyways, what were we talking about? Something about you being dumb.
TERFs being more of a British thing.
Yeah. And there's no real surprise there because it's an awful place, and and they tend to spawn messed up ideologies. Anyone in the chat getting upset at me yet?
No, we've actually lost so many. We used to get like 10 or 12 viewers every stream, and because I took those 2 weeks off, we've now gotten like 4. It's very sad. I'm gonna cry.
Oh, brother.
I know, right?
Um,
And like, but you're lucky because one or two of the 3 people here are probably one of the TERFs that I linked it to in a TERF server. So,
oh, great.
yeah, like be grateful because they're giving you some degree of views right now.
Yeah, I'm fucking through. I don't get the
Guys,
views.
T in chat if you're a TERF. Like, let's TERFs make some noise. Like,
Ugh.
I'm sort of claiming that back because like if people are going to throw it at me, it's like like screw it. Like people know what TERFs are. Some people don't know what gender critical is, and I'll just like claim it and show that I'm not a TERF. You know,
Bella, that's really stupid. I mean,
somebody else
it's
told me
like
it's really
it's
stupid.
like someone being like, I'm oh my god, people keep calling me a Nazi, so I'm going to claim the title Nazi.
Okay, well,
Um,
actually, no, but like this may be a more productive thing to do because I sent you a list of positions and I was like, these are my positions. And then you were like, yeah, those are tough positions and they make you a terrible person. Um, so why
I don't
don't
think I said that
you did?
specifically,
You did.
but
You fucking did.
but here's the thing about those positions
Okay.
is that I believe what I replied to them was ugh, UGH. But here's the thing, and I remembered what I was going to say about this was that we don't have as many TERFs visibly around here in the U.S. And so when you say things like that, like these positions that you mentioned, which we'll go over, um, they seem like ones that a normal person would be allowed to have, that a normal trans person could potentially have, without labeling themselves as gender critical or TERF, and thereby, alienating people and associating with a terrible, group. And I know that you're like, no, they're not all terrible. Bella, by your own admission, like over 90% of them are.
I thought
So
no. I retract that a bit. I was because I think I said that before. I didn't really know that many before. Like I I was saying that based on my observations of the most public ones. Um, but I don't think that's most people who are gender critical.
well, that's stupid, Bella, and you're wrong. Um,
Oh, and you say this
so
based on how many gender critical people that you know? Also, I've just
how
posted.
many gender critical people who I've seen? I've
No,
seen
no, no,
quite
no,
a
no.
lot.
That you know that you had like conversations with, etc.
Why would I do that's again? And I hate to keep bringing up Nazis, but I'm going to.
Oh
The
shit.
it's like, oh, so you hate Nazis, and this is based on how many Nazis you know. It's like I don't need to know that their positions are disgusting and horrible. I mean, why would I
I
need to know that?
I don't think TERFs are as bad because again, I'll read out the policy positions for chat. Um, my policy, I think single sex spaces should be protected. I don't think trans women should compete in the women's sports league or trans men in the women's league. I think I don't think woman or man should be defined by a set of behaviors or aesthetics. I don't think homosexuals should be criticized for not wanting to date someone of the opposite sex or for wanting single-sex
Now,
dating services. I think that the
hold on,
affirmative... Okay, go on.
real quick. I think it's very curious that when you wrote that, you only said homosexuals.
Because, well, okay, yeah, fine. Homosexuals, heterosexuals as well. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, same thing. You're right.
I should say monosexuals, yeah. I don't think monosexuals should be criticized for not wanting to date someone of the opposite or the same sex, or for wanting to single-sex dating services. I think that the affirmative model is not suitable to treat most cases of sex dysphoria. I think that trans medicine as institutional practice diverts focus from necessary political struggles against patriarchy. There we go. Right. Now,
Okay,
are those
so
positions like as bad as we should genocide the Jews? Oh God, I should that's gonna get clipped. Like, but
yes, can someone please record that?
oh my
Um,
God. Anyway,
the we need to get like a soundboard like those radio guys so we can tap that. The no, they're not as bad, but but I'd say two of those positions, and I don't have them in front of me, but I remember that two of them were reasonable and seemed like general, things that many trans people would have. I think that some people might have be okay with the concept of gender abolition. I'm not. Most people are not. I think that it, has a lot of negative things that can come out of it as well. And but the last one is one that I've yelled at you previously about that I think is pretty disgusting. It more and more, very recently, and by the way, you and everyone else in the thing, Bella has this problem of, you know, changing her views and getting more and more extreme, like on a constant basis, and never just like resting on her laurels and being like, okay, this is how I feel, or this is it's always like, oh well, another week passed. I need to,
that's not
because your new
true.
thing is having. Yeah, no, it is. But uh, uh, the thing is that your new kick that you're on is about thinking that the you use some really offensive term too. It was like the trans medical establishment is out there exploiting these trans people and telling getting them to do these unnecessary surgeries and stuff. It's like how much would you claim I'm misrepresenting your stupid views?
Well, I think you're misrepresenting my views a good deal as it happens. Jesus, where do I
So what was the last point that you said on your list of points of stuff that you believe?
I think that trans medicine as institutional practice diverts focus from necessary political struggles against patriarchy.
Ugh. The okay, well that's a position that you could take. I disagree with it, and I think that that and there were some other things that you had said previously about being against these this sort of stuff that sounded pretty ridiculous to me about it being negative in various ways. The medical establishment for trans people, when it's done so much help, and not only for other abstract trannies, but for you, this specific tranny, it's done a lot positive things.
I don't feel you should be using the word tranny.
And yet here we are. This is the problem with the N word, is that you're not allowed to say it constantly, get people used to it, comfortable saying it, and then get upset when other people pick up on it. I know you think you are, but usage of a word ends up making people think that it's okay.
Look, I think with tranny, there's clearly like the person it's coming from really, and the context it's coming from matters, right?
Mm.
Like Miss London joking about herself being a tranny, that's one thing. Somebody's calling another person directly a tranny is different. Oh my God. Anyway, I don't have the patience to get into this right now.
Why do you need the label, Bella? Why actually do you need the label?
So like I don't need it. It's just like I would rather be candid than use a euphemism. I think yeah, saying somebody said that I should call myself like a gender abolitionist, but at the end of the day, most of the positions that I agree with are ones that people get called TERFs for. So I might as well just call myself a TERF if I'm going.
I really disagree. I think that Bella, you are the most infuriating human being on the face of the planet because you have these like views and things that like if you would just fucking change like one word or something, you would get like 90% of the world to agree with you,
I
and
don't
you
know
would
if
be
that's I don't
saying
know
this,
if
and you
that's true.
but you just stubbornly refuse to. You just refuse to. You're like, I'm a man, and I'm like, well, Bella, maybe you should start saying natal male and stuff like that. And you're like, well, that's what I mean. And I'm like, well, then maybe that's what you should say, Bella. And you're like, well, I have these opinions that some people call, TERF and gender critical. So I'm just gonna attach to that stuff. And I'm like, Bella, if you would just not do that, then you would win. Then people would be like, wow, I should listen to this person. I should, they're making some good points. And but you just don't. You just sabotage yourself because you're fucking crazy.
Jesus, I had a friend basically say the same thing to me.
Well, hook me up with him. This guy's clearly smart. Well, explain it to me, Bella. Why? Why don't you?
Because I don't think it's actually that case. I think like when I say that I don't think trans women should use women's toilets in public, for instance, I think that's something that people consider turfy. When I say that there should be medical gatekeeping for transition, that's the kind of thing that people consider to be turf, or at least transmedicalist. And those are often transmedicalist is often regarded as almost interchangeable with turf anyway. When I say that I don't think it's politically valuable to call trans women women, people say that that's turfy. So I feel like not calling myself those things would be euphemism, and that feels dishonest to me. Oh my. Azapius like rage quit.
Anyways, what I was saying while it was cut off there was that you're stupid, and or rather, you're being stupid about this. The because first off, again, it's very culturally bound. It's about like here in America, people wouldn't apply that term, I don't think, because it doesn't exist as much around. With the internet, people more kind of know what turf is and stuff like that. But I think that you know the and also I think that rewording of these things would make a big difference. And I know that it's kind of weird for me, of all people, to be an advocate for you know tiptoeing around and wording things not super bluntly because that's what I do for a living. But saying that, for instance, it's not a good idea for trans women to be using women's bathrooms. People would be like, oh, well, I mean, that's true. It might not be a good idea for a number of reasons. Let me do that. But saying trans women shouldn't use it comes off as being like, you fucking tranny, yeah, deal with it, are, being a dirty pervert and going in there and stuff and all these things. You have, you catch more flies with fucking stuff than with the other stuff. I forget how that saying goes. More flies with honey than vinegar or whatever.
Yes, although I'm told that flies actually love vinegar, funnily enough.
They do actually, yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't think so. I think I don't think there's that much of a difference with saying like trans women shouldn't use women's restroom.
I know
And
that's
saying
because you're
that
just not that good at this arguing thing and this debating stuff.
I don't
I know
think
you think
because
you are because
I've seen Kathleen Stock gets all sorts of terrible abuse, and the things she says are very moderate and very mild and similar to how I say them. Sorry, no, that she's even more diplomatic, I should say, in her language than I am. And also with regards to yeah, I think it's important. Same thing with calling trans women. Part of the reason I'm now starting to avoid even the term natal male as I used to use is that it implies that there's some kind of other way to be male, to sort of become male, and that I think is misleading.
well, that's because you're wrong, Bella. It's that it's an interesting theory, your whole sort of gender abolition thing, but again, you just don't get to define the words. You just don't. You don't have the ability to redefine what the words mean in society. And and again, it's like you're sabotaging yourself. It's like you're saying, like, fuck it, I'm I want people to hate me and not view my videos and hear what I have to say and stuff.
Oh,
And if you do, that's fine
I
with
should
me.
get
But
on. Well, TERFs have a tendency to like love bomb, or gender criticals have a tendency to love bomb. So, I need to get on that. I need
I
some.
don't know what that means.
Oh, sorry, love bomb is just like when you throw a bunch of love at somebody to like get them to stay on your political side. Gender criticals do that a lot. They did it with JK when she wrote her essay, an essay which I still have some issues with, but that's
Yeah, I know because she's a bitch and she's on your side.
why do we need to
And
call her a bitch, man? That's like a really common misogynistic.
because it's insulting and it's hurtful, and that's what I want to do.
Oh my
I
god.
want to hurt these people.
Okay, you
Um,
actual baby. Fine.
what really? These people inflict hurt all the time,
I
and
don't look. I know.
you know,
Look, I know that a lot of people who call themselves gender critical do inflict hurt all the time. I've talked with many gender critical feminists about this, and they dislike that in many ways because it underpins the rhetoric. I talked about this with Florista about how some of the gender critical mocking of trans women's appearances is counterproductive to gender critical political goals. Many are aware of this, and they don't like when gender critical
they
feminists
don't like
do that.
it. They don't appear to dislike it enough to do anything about it.
Well, I've seen like within gender critical circles, I have seen gender critical feminists call other people out
Oh my
for.
god, what a bunch of heroes!
Well, it matters, it does, and I also do
If
my
I
part
was in a
there.
place where a huge number of people were doing that, I wouldn't fucking be a part of it. That would be disgusting. I mean, I wouldn't be a part of that community.
I think part of the problem is that gender critical as a label and as a, if we call it a political movement, I don't think that's sensible. But if we, as a community, it's very broad and it's really only defined by one thing. It's a bit like atheists. It's just defined by being critical of gender as a concept, and that therefore attracts a lot of different people with very different motivations, and some, I would even say, a good.
No, nope.
Well, this is rather unfair. This is what happened with like. If you're not going to let me, and you're just going to say no, or you're going to say, "Oh, you're wrong. I don't need to listen to that argument," or "Oh, you're stupid," you're just like saying that I'm a terrible bigot.
Yes,
For
exactly. Now
opinions which you say are reasonable. You said earlier my opinions are reasonable.
well, because you're associating with them and you're labeling yourself as such, and you just
Wait, okay, okay. Well,
stubbornly
let's take this.
refuse to.
Let's take this away from the label turf. Then, are my opinions reasonable?
Okay,
Do you?
let's. Why don't you?
No, 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 no. Are they reasonable opinions?
I don't know. It's been a few minutes, but I was
Okay,
saying
no, no,
no
no, no,
previously.
no, no, no. We will go.
No,
We
no,
will
but
go through them.
I'm gonna forget what I was gonna say.
Oh no, but we'll go through these opinions. Single sex spaces should be respected and protected.
Sure, well, that's a poor way of wording it. It implies that they are under assault from these dirty trannies, but I know what you actually mean, so sure.
Right, right. So you think that trans women should not use women's bathrooms and changing rooms?
Not actually, no. But
Right. So you don't agree
but
with
I
that.
can.
Cool. On to the next one. Trans women should not compete in the women's league in sports.
I think it depends on the sport, and I think it's complicated. But I can see where people would make arguments, blah blah blah.
Wait. So okay. So is that a yes or a no or a maybe?
Maybe I don't
Fine.
know enough
Maybe
about it. I think that there's certain ones where it would be fine.
trans women should not be in women's prisons.
I completely disagree with that, and I think
Fine.
that that's
Disagree.
one of your most hurtful things. Go
Cool.
ahead.
Great. Where are we? Woman or man should not be defined by a set of behaviors or aesthetics. And I'm saying should not
That
be,
I
not
disagree
is.
with.
Fine, yeah,
Disagree
disagree
with.
with. So, I don't think homosexuals or monosexuals should be criticized for not wanting to date someone of the same or opposite sex, or for wanting single-sex dating services.
I guess I'm fine with genital preference and stuff.
Cool.
If that's basically what you're trying to say.
Yep. So I think that the affirmative model of trans healthcare is not suitable to treat most instances of sex dysphoria as they present presently.
Well, that's ridiculous. No, I don't agree with that. I think that
Right.
it's doing a pretty goddamn good job
I
so
think that
far.
I think the trans medicine
I
is
think there are
institute.
cases where it shouldn't, where there are alternate treatment types, but I think that you're kind of basing this on very little actually, and you've just kind of made up your mind. But go ahead.
Excuse me. Oh, for God's sake, fine. I think that trans medicine's institutional practice diverts focus from necessary political struggles against patriarchy.
Trans
Medicine as
medicine.
institutional practice diverts focus from necessary political struggles against patriarchy.
Not, I don't really see that or fully understand it,
Fine.
but
So
no,
what?
not particularly.
So we have a total of like one position you agree, one maybe, and so there we
Again,
go.
it doesn't. Okay, well, it doesn't matter. I mean, you have these things and you associate with a fucked up group. Like, it's not gonna. I'm just not going to be like, oh, this is a good member of ISIS, or this is a good member of some white
Look,
supremacist organization, or this is a
when was
good.
the
I
last
mean,
time a TERF like executed somebody or burned them alive? Can you give me a
no, no, no,
single
no, no.
name?
No, you're not going to get into a sort of like, well, it's less evil than so and so. That doesn't make it okay, Bella. That doesn't.
No, the degree really fucking matters. Comparing somebody to like ISIS or whatever, a group that, to my knowledge, has not murdered a single fucking person in the name of like radical feminism, especially like trans
They just
exclusionary
ruined
radical
lives,
feminism.
and people to suicide. You're right. That's all.
So yes, drive people to suicide. I'm sure there's a couple of cases where that has happened or where radical feminists have contributed to that, and I don't think that's so. Oh my
See,
god, what?
here's the thing, Bella, is that when people give rhetorical examples, they exaggerate it in order to make it more obvious, as if you are zooming in on a picture and enlarging it to make it more so. So, yes, degree matters, but as far as giving examples and stuff go, it's supposed to, rhetorically explain, hey, this thing's a bad group to be a part of. This other thing's a bad group. It's different things, yes, but it kind of doesn't matter. The point is that my point, I guess, is that you should be willing, you're able to judge someone based on the company they keep and the groups they associate with.
Yeah, but that's part of my thing. Is I actually think that having gotten to know a lot of radical feminists, they're not as bad as people think they are. They're just not. And I do think that the opinions that I gave, most of which you disagreed with, are ones that I have seen other people be labeled as TERFs for. So
This is a fruit of the rotten tree argument. I don't know if I'm using that right, but it's like, make another name or identity or a different thing or something, and stop associating with people who are legitimately evil. Like, these people, if they have similar views to you, if they're not extreme, if they're not hurting people, then they are not TERFs and they are not gender critical. And I know that you think they are, and you're wrong, Bella.
well,
Like, I'm trying to help you. You need to cut off ties with this term if you want to get anyone to agree with you.
my goodness.
You disagree? How's it
Well, look, why
going
can't
for you
look, I
so
wouldn't.
far, Bella?
I would.
Did I get cut off?
You got cut off a bit, but it's fine. I think it's gone quite well. I've known people who I have convinced that it's not so bad.
Wow. Good victory, Bella. You're fucking banging on all cylinders. I convinced some people that it's not that
Well, yeah,
bad.
somebody said in chat, like, RDS, they are evil, don't talk to them argument. Exactly. Thought terminating cliches. Like, the label TERF is often a thought terminating cliche. And also, I need to point out, TERF say exactly the same thing about trans people. They say that trans people online have been sending me death threats and they're a terrible bunch of people. You shouldn't associate with them. I could turn the exact same thing around, but I'm not doing so. Oh my god, this keeps crashing. I'm gonna get mad. We'll play after
Yes, and
Palace.
that's appropriate. These people deserve death threats.
No, but you can't say, like, it's fine when our side do it. And when the other side, by the way, from what I can see, TERFs much less commonly send fucking death threats, even if the rhetoric they use is
I don't
very.
believe that. I just don't believe that.
What do you mean
And I
just...
think that if someone else is evil and doing terrible things and associated with a terrible group, then yeah, they deserve it. I'm not saying you, I'm not saying your friends
But you
who you label as TERFs and gender
they
critical
label themselves... Many of
falsely.
them...
I'm not saying
many of them
that.
label themselves as that. I'm not going to be, like, putting that on them.
Okay, well, fine. If they, I mean, they're allowed to
Turfy
be wrong too.
McTurferson,
You
as
don't
one
have a
of them said.
monopoly on being wrong. They can be wrong in labeling themselves too, if that's what it is. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about real, actual TERFs and gender critical who are out there harming people and bullying and just basically seem to devote their lives to cyberbullying. Yeah, I think that they should be treated like shit. And if you don't, that's fucked up.
No, look, like, you're literally doing the thing of, like, when our side does it, it's fine. When their side does it, it's bad.
I think that there is a world of difference between going and bullying someone because of their identity and something that they cannot change and something that they are trying to do to improve themselves and be good and who are not hurting anyone. I think that there is a huge difference between doing that and bullying a bully.
But you have to understand that, like, gender critical feminists perceive trans people as the bullies. They see them as bullying our way into women's spaces and trampling on women's rights and bullying homosexuals. They see it as
Well, that's
bullying.
ridiculous. Those are stupid opinions that are not based in any way on fact. And I know you're going to disagree because
But they're
you're
going to
crazy
say, but they would say that
extremist,
your opinions are stupid and not based in facts.
Okay, what, Bella? If we keep arguing about your stupid things, then we're not going to get time to talk about the that dumb news article that you wanted to talk about.